Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight I would like to offer the elemental reading for the month of November for the element of fire. And I recorded a video on kind of why I read for the elements and not the zodiac. It's linked in the description below if you're interested to go check that out. Anyway, new background. I'm playing with the lighting, can't quite figure out what I want to do to keep the white balance semi-normal, but let me know your thoughts. The yellow is kind of making a nice green background, but it's not a green screen. I'm just playing with different colors right now. So if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video if you're enjoying this type of content, and leave some comments and let me know what you think. So I started working more intuitively with my readings, so I'll still do the tarot, but I'm going to start, as I've done for the last 4 months now, with an I-ching that I cast earlier this day, so that I'm not doing that on screen because it takes a lot of time. And fire got the hexagram 3, which is difficulty. Difficulty followed by sublime success. Persistence is a righteous course bringing reward. Do not seek new goals or destinations. It's highly advantageous to consolidate your present position. So right off the bat, just from the base text, we'll go through the lines here. Searching out new things is not actually where you should be this coming month. Taking stock of what you have, where you're at in this moment, and consolidating your base, strengthening your foundation, basically. So you're not reaching for that new thing, you're kind of stable, you're bringing things more close to home, you're making sure that you have the foundation to launch forward from. So the first line, we start at the bottom, so this is our foundational line. Uncertainty prevails, the best to make no move, but to build determination and consolidate the position. I pretty much just said that anyway. But it's one of those things where if you start digging things for the future, you're going to destabilize your foundation. You're going to destabilize the things you already have in motion. So keep going with the things that are already in play. Strengthen and build that foundation stronger. The second line, he makes no more progress, covers no more distance than a mounted man trotting to and fro. His hesitation is due not to an obstacle, but to wooing of a girl who chastely repulses his advances and waits 10 years before giving consent. So this is really talking about pushing too hard is going to give you a massive amount of pushback. So that's where taking it slow, making sure you know what your goals and ambitions are, working towards those, not adding a bunch of new stuff. This month coming up, November Fire, is not about how much you can add to your plate, but how can you consolidate, fix, and correct. Because when they say it waits 10 years, that's because it's something new. So something new right now is not going to be a rapid move for you. It's going to be the long haul. So maybe not work on that new don't start something new right now is what is coming forward. So our third line, pursuing a deer without a guide, the hunter finds himself lost. The superior man perceives he must stay where he is, and as going forward would lead to trouble. If you've ever wandered around out in the forest, you'll know that the best way to be found is to stay put. Don't keep wandering unless you see a stream, then find that, follow it out. But that is actually really sage advice because in life, if you keep wandering around because you don't really have a focus, you don't really have a goal, or you keep reaching for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, but you haven't built a foundation, you're going to have an unpleasant time, and that's what the I-ching is giving you the heads up on right now. So our fourth place, right here, Hesitating like a man trotting to and fro, he waits for marriage, that thenceforth good fortune will prevail, every action prosper. Pursuing what you are actually hunting for, the goals you already have established, is the way to lead to success. And when they're talking about waiting for marriage, they're talking about the instant gratification of a lot of the modern world is not what's working best for you in this time. You have those plans, let them come to fruition. Build the foundation and allow the dreams, goals, and plans you already have in play settle on that foundation, because when they do, that's when the manifestation starts to open up for you. The fifth line is fertility cannot easily be brought about. Persistence in small things brings good fortune. In greater matters, it will have disaster. So you definitely want to just work on the little details. Take those next steps on what's already established. And we'll finish this up real quick. He hesitates like a man trotting to and fro, or like one shedding blood and tears. You don't want to constantly be chasing, constantly on the run, constantly, how fast can I go? How far can I go? What can I do new all the time? What they're saying with the I-ching here is running to and fro, you're just going to get tired. Chasing that new thing, you're just going to get tired. But you're not going to have a foundation to fall back on when you do become tired. So for the month of November, fire energy, this is really the time to kind of anchor in, ground, find that balance. What's working? Stay focusing on that. The new shiny thing that may flit across your horizon, let it go. That's not your priority. And to go chasing that, you'll end up lost in the woods. It might be something that later down the road will come back and be beneficial. But right now, this coming energy, this coming month, not the best decision. Just kind of keeping it home, keeping it focused, taking the next steps on the things that you already have started. So now we will start into our tarot reading. And there are approximately 5 weeks in November, it looks like. Sorry, my calendar, and I forgot to check before I started. So we will go with 5 weekly check-ins, and I read a guide and a guardian, a message from source, and then a lesson or a challenge from the tarot for each of the 5 weeks. The guide or guardian is, it can be a guide to guide you through that week. A guardian, if the week's a little bit tumultuous, how that manifests is within your personal life. The message from source is a positive supporting message in most cases, or maybe a heads up, tap on the shoulder, like, might want to be paying attention here. But the lesson or challenge from the tarot is an area of life that either you can work on this week because you have energy aligned to support work on that, or it could be a heads up that something's coming in that just be giving you a little pre-warning type thing. I read intuitively, so the messages that come through may not be the same that are on the deck or cards. And if you're interested in the I-ching that I'm using or any of the decks, there are links in the description, and if you click on those links, it actually helps support the channel. That's a little associate link thing. So with that, we'll get going with our first week of November for fire energy. And your guide or guardian for this first week is take a step back. The angels that come forward to taking step back, this is the angels of receiving a breath. There are the angels in between inhaling and exhaling, that time of pausing. So what these angels are going to do for this first week is help you understand that rushing, running, continually going, not always the best decision. So they're here to help you learn how to take that step back, how to observe from a distance and not get involved. They're really wanting to help you understand that during this first week especially, this is a time to evaluate, observe, but don't interact. And that could be with a work situation, stepping back and just watching, kind of a hands-off thing, or it could be like family situations. We are moving into the holiday season, so just be aware that during this first week of November, it's really about watching but not getting involved, not interacting as much, unless you're drug into it. That's a whole different story. But don't jump into the mix, is what they're saying. Fire likes to be a little bit more forward and motion oriented, but they're saying this first week maybe not. Your message from Source is in the hand. The universe is your partner. Universe wants to let you know that no matter what's going on, your divine counterpart, your guide guardians, your God source divine energy, your higher self, they're all here to support you. On the other side of the veil, you have massive support. You have massive help. And they're walking hand in hand with you, even if you're not aware of it. So for this first week, you're taking that step back, you're observing, but you're not really worried about it, because you do have the support of your guides and guardians and God source divine energy stepping up to say, you know what, let's just watch this for a minute. We'll help you navigate through what's coming up this week, but you don't need to rush into it. Let's just hang out back here, let's observe. But the universe definitely has your back this first week. So I have a small desk space, so everything has to be set carefully. Your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the 10 of Summer, an emotionally fulfilling life with family or friends, raising children, and people you can trust. What they're saying is this first week is really about tapping into your family. Your lesson or challenge, depending on how you view this, is spending more time with the family, building that foundation like the I-ching said, because you're taking that step back. And they're showing me that it's taking a step back from the outside world, from work, from your responsibilities outside of the home, and reconnecting with the people who live within your home. The 10 of Summer is really about building and grounding your foundation. It's that happy life, happy spouse, happy house concept where you're working to build your home. The universe has your back. They're guiding you. They're helping support you in this. So if there's an overtime shift this first week, maybe pass that one up, because you need to spend some time with your family. But it's really talking about that kind of energy where you're working to support the family. You're building that foundation. That by building that foundation, you're supporting you as well. So it's, you need that little extra boost sometimes. So for our second week for November, we have forgiveness and understanding. The angels of forgiveness and understanding come forward to help you, first of all, understand what needs to be forgiven, but they're also here to guide you through the forgiveness process. This can be messy emotionally. Forgiveness is where you release the hurt, you release the anger, you release the frustration. When we work with the angels of forgiveness and understanding, we're looking at the other person's perspective, which changes your perspective. It allows you to see the flip side of the mirror, so to speak. When you can do that, you're putting yourself in the other person's shoes. You can start to see why things happened the way they did, why certain things were said. When that happens, the beauty of it is it allows you to release your anger, frustration, or hurt. With that, you don't have to go to the person and make a big weepy apology. You can talk to the angels, access the higher frequencies, and send out the forgiveness. In most cases, will trigger the reciprocation of it as well. So you, at a higher frequency, you can forgive each other. You don't have to even communicate with them in the physical world anymore. That's totally cool. But you're allowed to work that way to forgiveness. The other thing, and they keep bringing this up, so I'm going to say it. When you work forgiveness, look in the mirror. Because inevitably there's something that you hold resentment towards yourself, resentment towards something that you did. It could be something that happened 25 years ago, 15 years ago. Doesn't matter, but it eats at you. It's in that back, right at the base of your skull, where it's always like, well, yeah, well, back in 2010, you did the following, and I cannot believe you did that. And that little voice that you just want to slap. When you look in the mirror, What is it you can forgive? What is it that you can say, you know what, I make mistakes, I'm human, but I use those mistakes to grow from them. And the angels of forgiveness and understanding can help you understand yourself and how you've changed, how you've grown from that person, however many years, days, months, weeks, however long ago it was. And when you can forgive yourself, it changes how you perceive yourself. When you look into the mirror, when you are going through forgiveness, it's hard to make eye contact with yourself. As you start to work through the forgiveness, you start to be able to see yourself. The eyes are the gateway to the soul. That's not a hidden truth. That's out there and open. Just no one wants to do it. But when you start working forgiveness for yourself as well, and you start really watching your own eyes, you'll notice when you first start doing forgiveness work, you almost can't look at yourself in the eye. You'll stare here, you'll stare up here, you'll stare down here. As you process through, you'll start to click into your own eyes, and it will change how you view yourself. So that's kind of how things are starting off for the second week. It's a little deep. Sorry about that. Your message from Source is overflow, overwhelm, and plenty. The angels are saying with the forgiveness and understanding, it can feel like an overflow, but the universe is coming in to say, even though that overflow is occurring, it is an overflow of abundance, of prosperity, and peace as well. As you forgive, you make space. When you make space, it opens doors. When you open doors, the universe can actually help guide you in your manifestation work. So those goals that you've been striving for, that's part of what the I-ching was talking about, staying focused on the things you already have in play, because this is the because. The universe is going to support you and back you. You have to make space, and sometimes that's working through forgiveness, starting to understand situations better. And when you do that, the overflow that can come in at that point is impressive. So really work on focusing on that forgiving aspect of things, and allow the universe's blessings. It doesn't matter if it's a small, oh, it worked, it clicked, something worked towards your goals in the second week. Really put the gratitude behind it to be like, thank you. You know what? We needed to do this. It's time to move forward. Here we go. So your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the Princess of Winter. Inquisitive, truthful, realistic, undiplomatic. Harsh words. Information that comes to you by which may also be difficult to hear, but may be difficult to hear. Speaking truth with kindness, an indigo child or an adult. If you've ever been around someone who is a genuine indigo child, it's fun to throw the word around, but it's meeting one, you'll know. They don't beat around the bush. You'll be lucky if they're nice about their truth, because they're going to be brutally honest. They don't know how to be anything else. This Princess of Winter is saying, it's time to be upfront with yourself. It's time to be upfront with the people in your group. If maybe you're not being as honest as you could be, it doesn't mean you're having to be dishonest. You're just, editing the truth. This is the time to clean that up. That's part of that forgiveness work that's going forward. But it's also saying that this is the time to maybe hear some harsh truths. As you're going through the processes the second week and the overflows are starting to come, pay attention to what people are saying, because what they're showing me is the second week is really going to be bringing forth truth, and it might be truth in its ugly form, meaning brutal truth that is not sugar-coated in the slightest. So just be aware that this second week, you're going through a period of growth and forgiveness, and you're working through some of that, but that's also revealing some maybe unpleasant truths as well. Your third week of November 2023 is the learning experience. These angels are here to help you process change. They're here to help you understand why, when you're going through forgiveness and understanding in the second week, this week it's how can you apply those lessons to your life now? How can you apply those lessons that you learned through seeing the other person's perspective, looking at things from the other side and learning forgiveness? How can you apply the lessons that you obviously learned to move forward? How can you work with the experiences of the universe opening the doors and the gateways, bringing in some of that overflow? How can you use that as a learning experience? This third week, they're setting you up for a lot of application of lesson. They're saying that this is the time to really focus on applying the stuff that you've learned. Going back to the I-ching, you're not searching out new things. You've got things to integrate now. So working within your mental home and physical home are a time to bring those things into action in this third week. Your message from source is the Watchers transpersonal. Biblically, or at least Christian mythology, states that the Watchers were here to observe. They some of them got a little amorous. We ended up with Nephilim and giants. Whole different mythology. We'll get into that later. Not the purpose of this video. But the Watchers are here to observe. You're learning lessons. You're putting your lessons into an experiential form. The Watchers are observing. God Source Divine Energy is saying, we're here if you need us. We're here to help. But we're going to let you apply these lessons on your own. How you apply them sets you up for the next steps. So what you have learned so far, you've learned a lot. Fire energy, especially this last year, has learned a lot. And so what they're saying is, you've got all the tools. We're going to observe, see what you do, see how you do. We're not going to let you fall flat on your face and not help you back up, but you have the gifts, the tools, the skills. How are you going to use them? And the Watchers are here mainly as an observer. They're here to maybe give you advice. What I'm getting is they're not going to intervene actively. They will give you those little taps on the shoulders like, hey, you might want to do this a different way. But this third week is really about putting into play for you. You have free will of choice. These are your skills, your tools. What are you going to do with it? Your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the Four of Winter. Set aside concerns for now. You can make decisions later, solutions that come from meditation, the need for sleep, or a vacation. As you're putting lessons into play, it can be tiring. This card is a reminder to take a break, do some self-care. If things become overwhelming, step back. You're not in a rush. And for fire energy, this is completely opposite of its normal occurrence. But the I-ching and the messages so far have come forward to say, you have a lot that you've already established in motion. Now's the time to solidify it and really amp up bringing that into fruition. And it's also about putting the things you've learned into play. In this third week, you have a lot of energy building through this month so far, and this third week is, you've got everything set up. What are you going to do with it? This is setting it back to you. What are you going to do? The Four of Winter is saying, you've got a lot going on. Don't exhaust yourself. Keep going. Keep working towards those goals, but don't exhaust yourself. If you need to take a break, take a break. If you need a nap, take a nap. If you need to go to bed early, go to bed early. Do what you need to do as self-care, but let the universe see what you're going to do next with all of the tools at your disposal. Your fourth week's guide or guardian is healing energy. As you put these learning experiences in the third week into play, you've been processing, you've been building and growing. And I find that the healing energy comes through a lot with growth periods. You've been putting things into play. The universe is saying, you have tools. We're going to watch and see what you do with them. This fourth week is saying the healing angels are coming in to help guide through the process. You're putting lessons into play. That was the message for the third week. But you might need a little support. And the healing energy angels are coming in to say we're offering emotional support and, if necessary, physical support to help you put those into play with the least amount of trauma. Because when you start putting lessons into play, you can, sometimes get a little roughed up. When you start in the gym, when you're starting a new lifting protocol, you get a little roughed up the first couple of weeks or days, depending on what you're doing, of a new set, of a new level. When you're emotionally clearing, when you get to that deeper level, things can get a little rough. the healing angels are saying this is a time for us to support you. You're doing the work. You're using the tools that you have earned over the years. If you need the assistance, we're here. So that's that's what's coming up for the 4th week. The message from Source is the cosmic womb, working with the divine feminine. When you tap into this healing energy, it's gentle. It's not as forward and pushing as fire energy tends to be. Fire energy is very projective, which is also very masculine in its energies. Think Mars. But the cosmic womb, working with that divine feminine this week, is a good way to work with that healing energy. As you put the lessons into play, you're applying them to your life, taking that time from the 4 of winter in the 3rd week to, downtime, working with the divine feminine. And maybe you already have a person in your life like this who's more feminine, and allow them to pamper you. That's not fire's nature. They don't something they normally work with, but they're saying this week it's part of the healing journey. It's part of that manifestation process. It's part of building that powerful foundation to launch you forward in the coming months. It's allowing yourself to receive, not just give. So this 4th week, you're working on healing, and part of that is learning to receive as well as offer. So your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the 4 of autumn. How many 4s have we had here? Just 2. Okay. Manage your resources wisely, achieving a balance in how you spend and save. Help those who are less fortunate. This is a card, as you're working with the feminine energy, you're projective, fire. You are always very aggressive, very forward thinking. Everything's got to move forward. But this 4th week is about allowing other people to help you, allowing other people to be of service. Giving and receiving are the same energy, but to always give depletes. If you're never receiving, you're not recharging. So the 4 of autumn is just really amplifying what the other 2 cards have said, because you're healing by receiving. You're healing by allowing other people to find a balance with you, that give and take. Giving is very easy for fire, but there's also a taking aspect that comes into play here, and that's what the 4 of autumn is wanting to remind you, that you don't always have to be the one presenting the energy. So let's look at the final week of November for our fire energy guys and gals out there. We have signs and reminders. The angels are coming through to show you, guide you, and give you little insights, little turn the page, and why am I stuck on that one picture? But it's really about opening up to the universe. The universe guides us, no matter what anyone tells you. No matter what religious doctrine you're from, the universe, God, source energy is going to show you what works, what doesn't. When you're on the right path, you're going to see images, thoughts. Think of the people who see the Virgin Mary on toast when they are praying in the morning, or they're, all the stories that have come out over the years. It's because they were opening up to God source energy that allows them to see the symbols saying, this is the direction, you're doing the right thing, keep doing this. So this 5th week is really about paying attention to the signs, the omens, and symbols that are coming forward in your life, because you've got a lot of lessons that you're putting into play. And they keep bringing this up, so we'll go with it. This month is really about implementing the stuff that you've learned, allowing it to be manifested, building those foundational blocks. Knowing you're on the right path, you will see the right signs and symbols. Things will click into place. Stuff that you may not even be taking that next step, you're going to see everything clicking as you go along, seeing, oh, there's the path. That's where it's at, because all the signs are showing you that's the way. Your message from Source is closing doors completion. You're coming to an end of a cycle. It's the end of a growth period is what I'm getting. And during those growth periods, sometimes past doors need to close. The reason in the 3rd week you were working on forgiveness is it was primarily for you, but you're also, when you release that, you're allowing those old doors to close. You're allowing the past to be finalized. This is a time, really, it's a positive time, because the stuff that's not serving you, the stuff that doesn't work anymore, you're closing that door. It's no longer necessary. It's no longer needed. So you're getting a lot of freedom coming forward. And this is setting you up for, it'll be interesting to see what December has, but it looks like it's setting you up for a pretty fun December. So let's see what your lesson or challenge from the tarot is. 15, the ego, the illusion of being trapped, placing too much importance on material items, getting caught in fear and worry. You've done the work. You've got the tools available to you. Don't get caught in the ego trap of what if. Don't get caught in the ego trap of, well, I have to make this person, I have to fill in the blank. The universe is showing you that if you want to co-create, it's way easier than just doing it yourself. Working with the energy of give and take, flow and ebb, that is what's going to benefit you going forward. And so, as a closing message, don't get wrapped up on the details. Don't get wrapped up in what other people think or what the egoic mind is. The ego lives on fear and worry. The message coming through this month is get your foundation built. Then your ego, that fear, worry, oh, what am I going to do, doesn't have a foothold anymore. When your foundation is strong and stable, ego can't be there very well. Ego is a tool. It can be used. Use it at work. I do it all the time. But you also have to know when to set it aside because it's not necessary. Or maybe there's a time and place, and that's what's coming up for this last week. If you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think. I'm going to keep playing with the background lighting to figure out how to make it look better, and if I can keep this background or if I have to switch it out. I hope you guys have an awesome month of December, and I will see you or November, sorry, and I will see you in the next video.